Hi everyone, I hope you're well. So I'm speaking to you again from Crete. This time it's a lot more sunny. I've just been filming a few videos here. And I feel the call to talk today about something I might call heart-based activism. So there's a lot of activism happening right now in the world, which is really beautiful to see. A lot of people are kind of waking up to doing more, to going out and speaking their voices and to being heard. And there's a lot of people on the streets, resisting, protesting, and there's definitely a need for that at some level, for sure. And one of the things that we're noticing at the same time, and perhaps there's a very big link between the two, is an awakening of the masses, yeah, an awakening of the Earth and the Earth population. So you might have seen it recently, and I'll post a link to this below the video. But there's something called the Schumann. I think it's the Schumann index. Anyway, it measures the lower electromagnetic field of the Earth, and it's until 2014 it was around 6, 7. 2014 it went up to just, I think, over 10, 12. Now, there's a direct correlation. This is something studied by a few sources, including the Institute of Heart Math, who are like a body of research around the heart, the intuition, the earth, the connection between humanity, etc. And they are a very good source of information. And they found that our brain waves, the brain waves of people living on the earth, are directly related to the frequency of this electromagnetic field. And that as this field has risen, it kind of takes us out, it allows us to open, if you want, or to raise the brain vibration as well. And anything between 15 and 25, I think, is what they call a state of awakened calm in the mind. So think of it as, I think the higher brain, the higher brain waves you go, the more open, the more calm, the more awakened you are. And we're now, since the end of January, over 30. Okay, so there's something happening. And it might be a coincidence, call it whatever you choose to call it, but it might perhaps also be a space of awakening in the world, which also links to what other teachers and healers and people who study the energy and the light around us are saying, that there's a lot of influx of newness for us to have available. So throughout this time, our hearts are going to start to open. Yeah, that's going to be the first and foremost thing. Our minds will start to open, our hearts will start to open. But at the same time, we're experiencing a lot of anger, perhaps a lot of fear, a lot of bad feeling from whatever might be happening outside of us. Now, heart-based activism is, for me, the art, perhaps, or the act of not separating, first and foremost. Okay, so for many years we've been in what we call, and the author and what's it called? Academic Charles Eisenstein, who's a beautiful writer, beautiful speaker, and I'll post a link to him below the video. He says that we're coming out of what we call the story of separation, where we've had this deep belief that we are all separate and that all actions we do are separate. Yeah. But we're slowly realizing through science, through consciousness, through evolution, that actually we are all connected and everything we do is connected. So heart-based activism is the idea that everything you do matters. Okay, you don't have to go out onto the streets and to make a massive impact. Okay, whatever your heart says, whatever you do from your heart will have an impact. Whatever word you speak, whatever thought you think, whatever action you take is all activism. Okay, it's all important. It has ripple effects across the web of connection between us all that is so invisible and so subtle that we cannot see it. Okay, we can feel it perhaps, we can sense it perhaps through the heart, but there's something that we can't actually yet physically observe. Okay, so I hear a lot of judgment of people perhaps who aren't doing a certain thing, who aren't maybe becoming vegetarians or vegan, or people who aren't on the streets, or people who aren't doing this and doing that. And we're creating more and more separation by doing this. We're kind of saying this action that I'm taking is more important than your action that you're taking, which might not be obvious, might not be present on social media. Okay, and that creates more separation. Yeah, and that's not really the time for separation. It really is the time for coming together. And that also includes how we look at people outside of us. So how much separation are we causing between us and, let's take the father of all shadows at the moment, Donald Trump, yeah? Oh, it might trigger a lot of stuff in you to even think that you are at the same time connected with Donald Trump, yeah? And what these people are doing is they're triggering a lot of stuff in us, a lot of stuff. Yeah, a lot of fear, a lot of rage, a lot of anger, a lot of terror, a lot of sadness, a lot of energy. Sorry. And it's easy for us to just start pointing the finger again at the external reality and say, see, you're doing it wrong, you need to change, you need to change. But I really invite you to, first and foremost, to observe that part of them, observe what it triggers in you, okay? So if for example, we say, oh, Wall Street, all the bankers, you're so greedy. Yeah, you're so greedy and you should stop. Yes, of course, on some level, yes. And at the same time, it's really important for all of us to go into ourselves and find the greed in ourselves, first and foremost. So we can mother that layer, so we can observe it, so we can start to heal it within ourselves, first and foremost, because through that web of interbeing, it changes everything. Okay, but if we keep going, you need to change, and you know nothing about ourselves, we're just giving more focus, giving more energy to that topic, to that person, to that issue, if you want to call it, and we're just bringing more energy to it. So in a way, at the same time, it's actually growing, we're actually fixing it, and we're actually freezing it even more. Whereas if we are allowed, first and foremost, to go, okay, I see you, and this is something Charles Eisenstein says as well, the idea of situationality. And if I perhaps had grown up in the exact same circumstances as you and had the exact same experiences as you throughout your entire life, I perhaps too would have done exactly the same thing. When we can start to have this sense and have this connection with each other, even the harder parts, and we do that by observing ourselves, observing the harder parts and mothering them in ourselves first. And when we can take actions that come from the heart, however big or small or disconnected that they seem. If you feel the call, for example, to go and spend some time with your grandparents, and it comes from the heart, go and do it. That's an act of heart-based activism. If you feel the call to go out on the streets and to wave and to shout, that's also an action of heart-based activism. If you feel the call to just start and to take more time for yourself, like I told you in the last video, to reflect, to receive more creative inspiration, clarity, and to give yourself more time to connect, that's also a space of heart-based activism. Whatever thoughts, words, action you're taking is all activism. So that's all for today. I wish you good luck in practicing these two things. And I'd love to hear from you about how maybe you put it into practice or what's come up for you. And I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye.